The 7 Most Important Paintings by Johannes Vermeer.
Number 7. Woman Reading a Letter. From the year 1663 to the year 1664. The work emerges at the height of Johannes Vermeer's technical mastery, at a time when the Dutch painter was intensely exploring light and silence in interior painting. It is a scene of intimacy, a woman absorbed in reading a letter whose content is an enigma for the viewer. This motif, recurrent in the artist's work, reflects not only the rise of the letter trade in the Netherlands in the 17th century, but also the emotional value of written communication in a society marked by distance and mobility. Vermeer's brushwork is deployed with meticulous precision in the rendering of textures and light nuances. He uses a palette dominated by cool tones, especially ultramarine blue, which reinforces the sense of depth and contemplation. The light that filters in from the left, modeling the figure's face and clothing, highlights his introspective concentration. The painting is considered a paradigm of the balance and harmony that defined the master's work. It is currently in the collection of the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, where it has served as inspiration for many contemporary artists who have sought to capture the same atmosphere of silent meditation in their own work. Number 6. The Lacemaker. From 1669 to 1671. This small format painting is one of the most delicate and detailed pieces in Vermeer's corpus, produced in the last stage of his production. In the scene, a young woman bent over her work patiently braids silk or linen threads, a symbol of dedication and precision. The meticulous attention to the artisanal process is in line with the Dutch appreciation for domestic work and feminine virtue, a recurring motif in 17th century painting. The closed composition reinforces the concentration of the figure, generating a feeling of total immersion in her task. Vermeer's technique in this work is masterful. Despite its apparent simplicity, the artist employs an innovative use of pictorial focus. The threads in the foreground dissolve in a blurring effect, while the figure and the lace take on absolute precision, anticipating optical principles that would be explored centuries later in photography. The brushstrokes are imperceptible in the areas of greatest detail and vibrant in the representation of the fabric and the luminous volumes. The use of yellows and reds intensifies the warmth of the scene. Today, the work is part of the Louvre Museum in Paris, where it has influenced Impressionist painters such as Renoir and photographers fascinated by Vermeerian light. Number 5. Woman with Scales. From 1662 to 1665. Considered one of Vermeer's most symbolic compositions, this painting captures the moment in which a woman holds a small scale, apparently in an act of weighing. Her serene gesture and lowered gaze reinforce the feeling of introspection, while the presence of a painting with religious themes in the background introduces a deeper reading about the transience of material goods and the search for spiritual balance. The choice of this subject suggests a connection with the moralizing thought of the time, a reflection of the Calvinist influence in 17th century Dutch society. The artist's technical mastery is evident in the meticulous treatment of light, which enters from a side window and gently diffuses over the scene, delicately shaping the shapes and accentuating the texture of the fabrics. Vermeer uses an impeccable geometric composition, where the woman's balance and posture are inscribed within a compositional triangle that directs the viewer's gaze towards the central object. The ethereal atmosphere and subtle chromatic range reinforce the idea of balance and harmony that defines the work. This piece is currently in the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., where its influence has transcended the pictorial realm, resonating in the work of photographers and filmmakers who have recreated its masterful use of light and composition. Number 4. The Art of Painting. from the year 1666 to the year 1668. Johannes Vermeer's masterpiece, The Art of Painting, is one of the most enigmatic pieces of the 17th century, and at the same time, a statement of principles about the status of the artist in Dutch society. In this meticulously balanced composition, Vermeer not only explores the relationship between reality and representation, but also pays homage to the pictorial tradition that preceded him. The scene captures a painter at work, with his back to the viewer, while portraying a young woman dressed in the attributes of Clio, the muse of history. This play of mirrors between art and history seems to elevate painting to the level of the liberal arts, claiming its intellectual relevance. Executed in oil on canvas, this work is distinguished by the complexity of its lighting and its technical virtuosity in the representation of materials. Velvet, silk, and geographical cartography shine with astonishing fidelity. Vermeer used the camera obscura as a tool of optical precision to achieve impeccable perspective and an atmospheric depth unusual for his time. Each element of the composition, from the majestic curtain in the foreground to the subtle arrangement of objects in the workshop, is calculated with mathematical precision to guide the viewer's gaze towards the epicenter of the action. This work has been interpreted as a reflection on the very nature of art and its role in the construction of cultural memory. Clio, a symbol of history, suggests that painting is not just a mere copy of reality, but a means of preserving and transcending time. After remaining in the private collection of the Vermeer family, the work was acquired in the 19th century and is today exhibited at the Kunsthistorisches Museum in Vienna, where it continues to fascinate historians and artists. Its influence has been profound, inspiring generations of painters and theorists who have explored the relationship between representation and reality in the history of Western art. Number 3. View of Delft. From 1660 to 1661. Among Johannes Vermeer's few urban scenes, View of Delft stands as one of the most influential paintings of the 17th century Dutch landscape, capturing the artist's hometown with astonishing fidelity. Unlike his contemporaries, who tended to stylize their architectural views with idealized details, Vermeer constructed a palpable and serene atmosphere, where light and shadow shape reality with an almost photographic naturalness. The reflection of the sky in the water and the subtle play of clouds in the atmosphere endow the scene with a unique lyricism, placing it as one of the most admired works of its author. Executed in oil on canvas, this painting reveals Vermeer's absolute mastery of light and color. The sfumato technique, applied with extreme delicacy, softens the contours and gives an exceptional sense of depth. The carefully studied brushstrokes accurately capture the texture of the roofs and the luminosity reflected on the facades of the buildings, achieving an almost tangible effect. The choice of pigments, including the famous lapis lazuli ultramarine, reinforces the vibrant intensity of the blues in the sky and water, generating a visual effect of harmony and balance. Considered by some to be a work that transcends simple topographical representation, View of Delft has been interpreted as a meditation on stillness and time. Its ability to evoke nostalgia and contemplation was praised by figures such as Marcel Proust, who immortalized it in Search of Lost Time. Today, the painting is housed in the Mauritshuis in The Hague, where it remains an object of study and admiration. Its influence on the history of pictorial landscape is undeniable, establishing a paradigm that would inspire later artists such as Camille Corot and Claude Monet in their search for light and atmosphere in plein-air painting. Number 2. The Milkmaid. From 1658 to 1660. Few paintings in the history of art have managed to capture everyday life with the same dignity and power as Johannes Vermeer's The Milkmaid. Conceived during the painter's mature creative period, This work does not represent a simple genre scene, but rather an exaltation of domestic work through a composition of unusual sobriety and psychological depth. The central figure, a young servant concentrating on pouring milk, embodies the dedication and patience of daily routine, turning an ordinary gesture into an almost ritual act. Vermeer's technical mastery is evident in every brushstroke of this oil-on canvas, where light flows naturally from the side window, shaping the volumes with almost sculptural precision. The rendering of textures, from the bread and crockery to the folds of the apron, demonstrates a meticulous observation of the material world. The masterful use of color, with a palette dominated by ultramarine blue and golden ochres, gives the scene an unmistakable visual balance. The pointillism technique in subtle details, such as the beads of light on the milk jug, demonstrates the painter's mastery in constructing optical effects that were advanced for his time. Beyond its apparent simplicity, the Milkmaid is loaded with symbolism. The act of pouring milk has been interpreted as an allusion to generosity and nourishment, while the austere setting suggests a reflection on modest living and the value of work. Today, the painting is in the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, where it stands as one of the most emblematic pieces of the Dutch Golden Age. Its influence has transcended the artistic sphere, inspiring photographers, filmmakers, and designers in the search for an aesthetic that captures the essence of the everyday with timeless beauty. Number 1. Girl with a Pearl Earring. 1665. Painted in the 17th century, this work by Johannes Vermeer has been the subject of countless interpretations since its creation. Its history is as enigmatic as the gaze of the young woman portrayed, as there is no definitive record of the identity of the sitter. It is believed to have been conceived not as a conventional portrait, but as a tronie, an idealized study of expression that reflected the artist's technical mastery beyond the representation of a specific character. The painting remained in relative obscurity until the 19th century, when it was rediscovered and recognized as one of the most sublime pieces of the Dutch Golden Age. Since then, it has been acclaimed for its psychological depth and ethereal luminosity. Executed in oil-on canvas, this work displays Vermeer's unrivaled mastery of light and color. His meticulous technique is evident in the application of subtle layers of translucent paint, which give the young woman's skin an almost tactile softness. The presence of the deep blue of the turban, achieved with expensive lapis lazuli pigment, contrasts delicately with the golden tones of the background and the iconic pearl, whose volumetric appearance is achieved with just a reflection and a subtle shadow. The sober composition and masterful use of chiaroscuro reveal the influence of the Flemish school, but also the uniqueness of his style, in which each element is calculated with mathematical precision. Beyond its impeccable technique, the work has become a symbol of mystery and timeless beauty. The young woman's expression, with her slight smile and her gaze that seems to meet the viewer directly, has generated multiple interpretations, from candor to melancholy. It is exhibited at the Mauritshuis Museum in The Hague, where its presence dominates the room with hypnotic subtlety. Its influence has been notable in the art world and beyond, inspiring countless painters, photographers, and filmmakers who have attempted to capture the essence of its enigmatic presence. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Give it a like, comment your thoughts, and share this video with your friends and family.